welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, gonna go over a story titled, I asked my boyfriend his thoughts on an open relationship and he broke up with me. How can I fix this? And a big shout out to Mark for sending me the story. And guys, this story is all about a gal who's having a freaking meltdown because her boyfriend responded to her open relationship request, and not to mention cheating, because really that's what's obviously going on here, and you'll see I'm right, in a way that she certainly never saw coming. He kicked her to the curb. And let's just say his way of going about it was definitely unique and definitely quite hilarious. And you're going to see that this guy, there's quite an age difference between the two of them. She is 24 and he is 41. And in my opinion, while I got no problem absolutely with guys being younger gals and dating, hooking up a relationship with a gal who's 24 and he's 41, and they've been together for 2 years, so actually she was 22 and he was 39 at the time, bad idea. Complete night and day difference in life experience, maturity, etc., etc. I got no problem with a guy getting some young ass, keeping it like that, but relationship, no. And clearly, she'll demonstrate she doesn't have the maturity to handle it. That'll be a very good one to cover here, guys, because once again shows that they do open relationship. Either they're already cheating or they already have somebody in mind as permission to cheat. And you got to kick them to the curb and move on. And also kind of a warning about getting into actual relationships, not casual dating, hookups, friends with benefits, which you got to be careful, but guys do it anyway. But full-on relationships with girls that young, that immature, bad way to go. So it starts off, says here, first off, let me start by saying that our age gap is not the issue here. I beg to differ, sweetie. My boyfriend is the best thing to happen to me in my adult life because of his age, not despite it. Well, you sure showed him your appreciation for him being the best thing in your life by cheating on him. Over the 2 years we've been together, I've grown so much as a person thanks in large part to his gentle love and overwhelming support. You can just bullshit here. None of my friends in long-term relationships have anything like what my boyfriend and I have, and they all said they wish they did. Also, he's more attractive and in better shape than all their boyfriends. That I can actually believe. So if your first reaction to the situation is that some dirty old man is taking advantage of a young, naive girl, then you're wrong. Yeah, the young girl's taking advantage of the older guy. That's what's going on here. And for the record, I was the one that asked him out first. I'm sorry if that comes off as defensive, but that seems to be the first reaction to our relationship by anyone who doesn't know us. Well, obviously the way this thing turned out, people know you better than you think. We are both nurses. He is an administrative supervisor at my company. He trained me my first 2 weeks on the job, and we hit it off because we both love to work out and lots of things in common. Nothing happened then, but I just couldn't stop thinking about him. So after about a month, I stopped by his office after work and asked him out for coffee. There's a cliche, hitting on the boss, wanting to date the boss. 6 months later, I moved in with him. Smack to that guy. That was a boneheaded move. And by the way, guys, I think I need to add some information here. This guy, before dating her, was married. He was married to his wife for 10 years, and then she died. And then 3 years before he started dating her, I believe, that's when she died. So this guy's been around the block and has some hardships. That first year was the best time I ever had in our relationship. We traveled, ate out, and went to shows and movies. In other words, he showed you the world at his expense. He taught me so much about life. He'd really engage with me and listen to what I had to say. He also wasn't afraid to ask me those really tough questions that made me look at situations from another perspective. He taught me how to stand up for myself and avoid conflict resolution. The more time we spent together, the more I love him. The lockdown happened. My boyfriend is not perfect. So she went through this whole thing about how amazing he is. Now she's like, but he's not perfect. One major problem is he's a micromanager when it comes to work and a workaholic. As soon as the lockdown started, he started working nonstop. Sometimes he'd work 14 to 16 hours a day. Well, he is in the medical field, and during the lockdown of COVID, high demand for medical personnel, so he had to be there all the time. That's just what happened. And you need to understand that. And by the way, by him being a workaholic and on his grind, making something of himself, that helped finance the lifestyle you enjoyed with him. The traveling, the eating out, the shows, entertainment, all that. Because obviously as a young nurse at 22, 23 years old, she probably wasn't making that much money after her loans and all that. It says here, from the end of April to the second week in June, he worked 36 days straight. He would come home, kiss me, work out, shower, and go to bed, just to get up the next morning and do it all over again. No one asks him to work like that, he just does it. He says, I have to be an advocate for our patients and make sure they're safe and taken care of. I won't lie, I got really lonely during this time. I talked to him about it and he cut back some. He even started doing silly things like ordering cheesy decorations online and decorating our dining room like a Chinese restaurant and ordering takeout from our favorite Chinese place so it'd feel like we went out. It was fun and nice, but it was still lonely. Now, probably during that time period, obviously a lot of restaurants were closed and things like that, so obviously they couldn't do that. Now, I'll be fair here, she's in a relationship and wants to go out with her guy, and if they're supposed to be in a relationship and they're never spending time together, any party could be a little bummed about that. Fair enough. But you communicate in a way that you're saying your needs are being met instead of cheating, which you'll see here. And when I say communicate, you communicate in a way that the other person understands, not dropping hints or talking in innuendos and things like that, which women often do, hoping their guy will just magically figure it out or be a mind reader. Men are not mind readers. Women have to be as direct as possible for us to understand where they're fucking coming from, what they want. The hint thing doesn't work, ever. Around this time, an old friend from high school contacted me through Facebook. What I tell you guys about how you do relationships, a girl's not going to be on social media and connecting with guys and having guys they talk to and hang out with, which is a bad idea, right here. We started talking first in Instant Messenger, then we started texting. He was really there for me and showed me a lot of attention. Meaning he was probably her orbiter, always wanted to get a piece of her, and saw she was lonely and looked for his chance. Or maybe he was somebody she used to hook up with. After a while, he asked if I wanted to meet up for drinks. Outdoor bars are open here. I said yes, since my boyfriend wasn't home. Remember how she talked about how amazing he is and wonderful he is and blah, 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 blah. Instead of communicating with him about things, she's just now going to set the stage for the cheating. Says here, since my boyfriend wasn't home, we went out. I ended up drinking more than I usually do, and before I knew it, we were kissing. I'm not going to lie, it felt really good. I did allow it to go too far, but I stopped it before we had the SCX. Oh, well. As long as you didn't have the official SCX, then that's okay. But you were still making out with him, and I'm sure your mouth were in other parts of his bodies, too. I left and went home. I felt awful. Not because I did it, but because I did behind my boyfriend's back. The next day, I asked my boyfriend if we could talk. I started by telling him how lonely I felt these past few months, and I wanted to ask his thoughts on an open relationship. Why didn't you have the conversation minus the open relationship before you went and did this? He was actually very receptive. He sat down with me and asked several questions about our relationship and how strong did I think it was. He listened as I explained that I loved him but needed attention that he can't provide right now. Yeah, but you sure don't mind continuing to live with him and obviously him to pay the, no doubt, majority of the bills like the rent, the electric bill, the cable, the food. You don't mind still staying there with him so you can get those nice things, but you can go be out with your little friend and doing more than kissing. I wanted him, but I didn't feel like my needs were being met, and this would be an easy and safe way for me to get the attention that I've been missing. What I tell you about attention and validation? He asked what brought this on. I explained that about my friend and how I wasn't interested in a relationship with him, but I would like to go out with him just for some distraction from everything going on. You don't want a relationship with this friend of hers, but she sure wants his package. Okay, baby, whatever you say. He sat there for several minutes, and that's when I saw the hurt in his eyes. It wasn't until that moment that I realized how selfish I had been. You think? It was like someone poured ice water over me. I had not once thought about him in this entire situation. But before I could say a word, he said, "You need to leave." Good job. I tried to talk more, but he said he was not in a place emotionally to communicate with me effectively, and I needed to give him some space. I just broke down crying. Of course you did. I had messed it all up and hadn't even realized it till that moment. He left after that and asked me to leave before he got back. About 2 hours later, I got a text from him saying that we needed some time apart and he didn't feel like we needed to be in a relationship right now. Oh boy, let the waterworks and drama begin. Because now she has all this uncertainty. She wasn't expecting this. She was probably expecting her guy thinking that, hey, I'm 24, I'm young, I'm in my prime, I'm hot, and this guy's above 40 years old. He's probably so happy to have me anyway that he'll go along whatever I say. Nope. That was 2 days ago. I'm at my parents' house right now and I can't eat or sleep. I'm a wreck. I know I'm a dumbass and a horrible person, but please, if you have any advice how to fix this, please help. I'm literally making myself sick over this and I have no clue what even to say to him. Here's my advice. Leave him the hell alone. You make your bed, you lie in it. End of the freaking story. And he breaks up with you, he breaks up with you. And you learn a lesson. The next time, lady, you have a guy that's great to you on so many fronts, you treat him accordingly. And if you're upset with something, like you're not having your needs met, fair enough. Communicate with him like an adult. Not like your 24-year-old fellow idiots you hang out with, like a freaking grown-ass adult. About what you're upset about, what you're worried about, whatever. In a way that he can understand, not hints, not innuendos, that bullshit. And then you work it out. You don't pull this shit. Too bad, honey. Now, real quick, I'm going to read some comments here. They're pretty funny, and I'll get back to the main update, how he handles her and all that. One guy says to her, so you cheated and didn't tell him. So you brought up the prospect of an open relationship so you can sleep with your friend and have it be okay, but still keeping what happened a secret. Then when he found out you were thinking of an open relationship just so you can bang your friend, and he got mad. Only part that makes sense is him getting mad. You effed up long before that part, though. And she says, in that moment with my friend, I swear I didn't see it as cheating. Really? You didn't see us making out with him? You didn't see us cheating? And I'm sure she's not listing everything that really happened. I really did think that what I was doing was right until I saw the look in my boyfriend's eyes and realized I hadn't thought about my boyfriend's feelings once the entire time I've been talking to my friend. I'm disgusted with myself. Is there any way to approach this with my boyfriend to help him forgive me? No, because he's been around the block. He's 41 years old, been married, probably realized, you know what? Life's too short. I'm not going to do this bullshit. And how can she not think that kissing the guy was cheating, right? I mean, I guarantee you, if he was out with some other girl, a girl he claimed was a friend, and they were kissing, I'm pretty sure she would see that as cheating. Another guy says here, this actually is related to age difference. Not for the difference in years, but the difference of the maturity. You had a wonderful relationship with an equally wonderful man, but you were not able to be an adult when things got tough, so you cheated because he didn't give you enough attention. That's the stupidest excuse for cheating I've ever heard. Well, you know what? It is a stupid excuse, but it happens a lot. Basically, as long as things were going your way, you were happy. But as soon as things got a little tough, you cheated. I like this guy. He was working, not out partying with friends or sitting on a computer playing games all day and ignoring you. Working during this pandemic to provide you stability and warmth, a loving home. And instead of acting like an adult in a mature, loving relationship and supporting him, you cheated. And not only that, you state, I felt awful. Not because I did it, but because I did behind my boyfriend's back. Now, he tears her a new one some more, but you get the point. Now I'm going to share her reaction. And she says, this is actually very helpful. You are right. I need to figure out what allowed me to block any consideration for my boyfriend out of my mind when it came to talking to my friend. I thought that there was nothing wrong in my actions. I didn't even see it as cheating. I have really messed up here. Yeah, well, she said she was drinking, so that would be an easy excuse. Or she was just focused on herself and not thinking of him. She also said here, one thing I didn't say in the original post was, because I didn't know if it was relevant, is that he's actually a widower. That he's 41, he was married for 10 years, and then his wife passed away 3 years ago. So, you know, this guy obviously got some issues with his wife dying and all that, and maybe some abandonment issues, who knows. Then you cheat on him? Now for the update to see how this thing plays out. He says, or she says, it's been over a week now, and some people have asked for an update, so here goes. He called last Tuesday and said he wanted to talk. I was both scared and over the moon because I took the advice so many people gave me here to give him some space. That was the smart way to go, I'll give her that. We hadn't talked since that Saturday before and I missed him like mad. He says he wants to meet my parents at my parents' house, and I agree, although I thought that was a little weird. When he pulled into the driveway, he sent me a text asking me to come outside. I went out to meet him, and he was standing in front of his car. I immediately saw that he had someone in the car with him, and I just broke down. I knew what was coming, and I didn't want to face it. He was so kind. He comforted me and helped me on the porch where we both sat on the steps. I can quote what was said, so this is paraphrase. He said that he loved me, but my actions proved to him that we were in two different places in our lives, and he wasn't going to hold me back anymore. Well, he's certainly handling it in a way that a lot of guys wouldn't. Yeah, they are in different places in their lives. She's too young and fucking immature for him. I'm not saying I have no problem with him dating a younger woman, but 41 and 24, aside from hooking up, and there are exceptions, of course, but you look at the average gals in college nowadays, or the ones that graduate mid-20s. You think that they have the capacity of being in a relationship, in a mature relationship? Get the fuck out of here. I mean, hell, even ones in their 30s have a hard time nowadays, or 40s, but you get my point. Said here, he said he knew I needed to live more and enjoy life before settling down. He apologized for holding me back for so long. Smack. Don't fucking apologize. And thanked me for the best 2 years since his wife had died. I wanted to lay down on the ground and die right there. I just sobbed. It's all I could do. My dad finally came out and helped me back into the house. My dad then went back out and talked to my boyfriend. They talked for a while. I don't remember how long because I was near hysterical at that point. Drama queen. My mom came out and gave me something to help me relax. My father came back. He whispered something to my mom, and she helped me upstairs to my room. I laid there for a while until I heard someone pull into the driveway. I looked out and saw that a moving truck had backed in. Holy shit. He rented a U-Haul, packed it up with all her shit, and drove it on over. He had all my belongings at our place packed up and delivered to my parents' house. That's when I really lost all control of myself. I was crying so hard I didn't feel like I was in control of my own body anymore. My mom ended up sleeping in my room with me all night. Oh, for goodness sake. In the past 3 days, I've been out of bed probably less than 10 times, and that was just to use the bathroom. I'm lost, and worse than I lost him today. I'm lost, and worse that I lost him. But I was finally able to eat today. So I figured I would give you all a look at the end of my world. So yes, Reddit, you were right, and he left me. You're right that I'm a horrible person, and I deserve this, but it still hurts really bad. And that is it to her crying woes. And one of two things is going to happen here. Either she's going to learn a lesson on multiple fronts about this whole thing, or just go back to the same old bullshit. Flip a coin, what's going to happen? But I'm going to say probably she won't learn a lesson. But the lesson she should learn, if she's to learn it, is that if you got a guy that's not great to you, and mature and all that, don't fuck it up. If you're unhappy about something, fair enough. Communicate like a goddamn adult. Because I'm sure she claims to be an adult. And speak to your man in a way that he understands, direct as can be, and work something out. And you don't just go off and cheat with your little male orbiter or the bad boy you went to high school with that you still keep in touch on Facebook. No. And if he kicks you to the curb, end of story. And this idea of the open relationship crap, there are a lot of guys out there, thank the Lord, are realizing that they have great value, and there's no way they're going to tolerate that. And the second a gal brings it up, she's done. So don't buy into that bullshit that you may read in Cosmo or see an online article about, or your girlfriend's claim is the best thing that happens is going to make your marriage or relationship so much better. No, because I'm doing my part to teach guys out there with these stories, don't ever accept it. Kick them to the curb right then and there. Because until more guys do that, lay down the law, this bullshit will continue. And amongst many other things, I wish that guy the best, and good for him. He was a lot nicer about than I'd be. But fair enough, he kicked her to the curb, and I love that. He sent the U-Haul over to her house, and she can take all her shit. End of story. And I'm willing to bet you this girl will probably reach out to him in the future. But this guy, something tells me, because I don't know, he'll be like, hey, wish you the best, but not happening. Anyway, guys, that'd be an entertaining story to go over here today. That is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And guys, you come across a good story like me to share, by all means, email to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I definitely will. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.